Okay, yeah, a very good evening to everyone present here. I, Lakshmi, would like to start this knowledge session on overcoming self-doubt. Coming to overcoming self-doubt, which requires recognizing that everyone experiences it. Cultivate self-passion, challenge thoughts, and focus on your strengths. Celebrate small victories, seek support from loved ones, and remember that setbacks are opportunities for growth. SEMS Welfare Foundation is a registered non-profit organization which is dedicated to social impact across various sectors. We focus on education, particularly skill development and entrepreneurship. Through our initiative, Digi Saksham, we have created training programs in IT, finance, retail, and entrepreneurship impacting over 6,000 individuals. We are currently upskilling inmates in Haryana jail and collaborating with universities and colleges. We have also partnered with banks to place over 1,500 candidates in jobs. In just a short time, SEMS has established itself a force for positive change, equipping individuals with skills for employment and promoting women's leadership in various industries. This session is collaboratively organized by DigiSamaksh. DigiSamaksh is a company that empowers business through data and technology. We offer a wide range of services, including IT, software, data science, research, consultancy, data analytics, and marketing. So, it's our privilege to welcome Miss Aparna Gautam, who is a dynamic force driven by an insatiable hunger for growth and change, a quality that has defined her incredible journey. As a career growth specialist, Aparna dedicates her expertise to helping millennials unlock their potential, grow in their career, build personal brand, and shift their mindset towards success. Her journey is as inspiring as it is transformative. With over a decade of professional experience, spanning education, media, wellness, and fashion, she has continuously pushed the boundaries of what is possible. Her notable achievements includes founding Career Success Mastermind, empowering millennials to aim for excellence. A remarkable 1100% career growth, rising from a junior executive sale role to head of content marketing at a leading MNC. Publishing her books Poetry and Heart, available on Amazon and Flipkart. Building an expansive online network of over 3 lakh 80,000 plus followers across platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Achieving 15 plus million views on LinkedIn, amplifying her voice as a thought leader. Serving as a social media consultant for the Hindu Lit for Life for 3 consecutive years. As a mother of two, she balances her professional achievements with a grace and a commitment to personal growth. Her coaching is tailored for individuals aiming to take their careers to the next level, re enter the workforce with confidence, land the right opportunities, overcome doubts about their career paths. Her story is a testament to resilience, determination, and the belief that success is attainable for anyone willing to work for it. Aparna's passion lies in transforming lives and empowering individuals to achieve the fullest potential. So now over to you, Aparna ma'am.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Thank you for an elaborate introduction. I'm actually very thrilled to be here. And the topic is very, very close to my heart. I just want someone to confirm if I'm audible, if I'm clearly audible. Lakshmi, maybe you can confirm. Yes? Okay, fantastic. All right. So before we get into the session today, on a topic that is universal, as Lakshmi very rightly said, that it's human to feel self-doubt. And today we are going to learn in detail as to how to overcome it, how to manage it, I am not promising that by the end of today's session, you would have learned how to erase self-doubt. That probably is not humanly possible, but you would have definitely learned to understand it better and manage it so that it doesn't block you. It doesn't really get in the way of everything that you want to accomplish in this life. But before I get into the topic and go into, all the sections that I have for you, I would love to hear from you, and chat is a beautiful way to interact. So all those who are listening, if you can just let me know in the chat, where are you logging in from? Which city are you logging in from? Let me know in the chat. Also, let me know whether you're a student or a working professional. It'll help me to understand you better, and I can, add more value. And it's just, more interesting for me to have a two-way conversation rather than just talking to my laptop. All right, fantastic. Thank you for confirming, Shivani. Awesome. All right. So I have Meerut, I have Lucknow. Wonderful. Let me know. Just type in the chat. I can already see your names. Just let me know in the chat which city are you logging in from. So I have Mumbai, I have Lucknow, I have Meerut. Where else? I have somebody is logging in from Tamil Nadu, then Kerala, Gujarat, wow, wow, Karnataka. So it's really like a national audience from everywhere. We have joined in and we want to kind of come together. And I understand that most of you are students. Any working professionals, just type in the chat that I'm a working professional. Otherwise, I'm assuming that most of us are students. Yes, all right. I will keep looking at the chat once in a while. Okay. So we have an assistant professor here. We have a student here. Very good. So just let me know in the chat whether you're a student or a working professional. It'll be great to know you better before we get into the session. Now I'm going to share my screen. And then I'm going to take you into the topic that we've all come together for today. All right, let's get into it. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, fantastic. Just one person can confirm if you can see my screen. Somebody can unmute and confirm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, my screen is visible.
Yeah,
Okay,
visible.
fantastic, fantastic. So I've made it as simple, as straightforward, as clear for you as possible, and we will get a lot of value throughout the session. Only request is that if you have any questions for anything that I'm speaking about today, or generally about self-doubt, we'll park it to the end of our conversation. So you can, have maybe a small notepad on your side, keep noting down your questions, and I will get to it at the end of today's conversation. Yes, I'm not calling it a session, it's a conversation, and you'll have your say in the topic as well. Yes, all right, fantastic. So let's get into it. So for us to overcome anything, that's a general rule of change, general rule of transformation, is that we first need to understand what's the problem. Unless we know the problem, unless we define the problem, there's no way that you can get into changing it or working on it, right? And a very straightforward dictionary meaning of self-doubt is lack of confidence in oneself and one's abilities, right? I'll repeat. It's lack of confidence in oneself and one's ability. So if you dissect it a little bit, it's indirectly us telling our own self, I don't trust. It's us telling ourselves that I don't believe that you can handle XYZ, whatever it is that's in front of you, right? Indirectly losing or not really focusing or building that connection that is required with oneself so that you can feel confident, right? For example, think of confidence like, or think of this connection like a connection between any two people, right? Think of your friends. Now, how do you trust a friend, right? How do you really trust that they will show up for you? How do you trust that they will be there for you when you need them? Let's say for any kind of emotional support. You trust them because they show up for you. You trust them because there is a connection that has been built. You've bonded together. You know each other. You understand each other. You've spent a lot of quality time together. There's been many, many interactions. But when it comes to our own self, when I ask you to list down expectations that I want this, I want that, I have this dream, I have that aim to accomplish, you'll give me tons of things. But when it comes to building that connection so that there can be trust, right? We may be taking a back seat. We may not be doing it as focused, right? Our focus is mostly outwards. We're focusing on people around us, their feedback on us, their validation towards us, versus that one person who's going to help us achieve all those goals. We don't really connect, right? So let's get into further. I've already kind of kicked it off, but let's get into further understanding. Where does the self-doubt come from? I promise you one thing, is this is for everybody in the room. We weren't born with it. That I promise. We weren't born doubting ourselves. We were born, and this is scientifically proven fact that, babies are afraid of, I think, two things. They're only afraid of the dark and they're afraid of falling, right? And that's more like a physical phenomenon. But They don't doubt them. If we were born doubting ourselves, we wouldn't have learned to walk, we wouldn't have learned to talk, we wouldn't have learned to do any of the basic functionalities that we have in our mind and body. Forget about everything else, because at that age, we can't be coached. At that age, we can't be taught. So how would you have helped a child who's, self-doubting? So naturally, it's a God's gift that we are born confident. But then what happens? Life happens, as they popularly say. Life happens. So a very confident, very shiny, very proud of themselves, proud of what they can do. Even the smallest of things they celebrate. And then over a period of time, self-doubt kicks in. And how does that happen? Let's understand that first before we learn how to manage it. So there was this beautiful article I was going through by Berkeley Wellbeing Institute. Okay. And they very beautifully highlighted two things. Let me bring it to the front. Yes. One thing that they say, that anything that leads us to question our existing beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, it may trigger self-doubt, right? So for example, you may believe in something very strongly. Okay. For example, let's say you believe that you should not lend money to anyone. Okay, it's a strong belief that if I lend money, that relationship gets ruined, right? So I never lend money to anybody. So if that is a belief that you have, right? And someone who is very influential in your life is saying that, no, it's absolutely okay. If, somebody is really needing and you are, you have the resources, you should definitely lend it. And if you trust them, all that. So somebody is encouraging you to lend money, but you strongly believe that you don't. But this is a very influential voice in your life. Let's say it's a voice of a parent, or it's a voice of a friend that you truly listen to all the time. You are bound to have self-doubt that, oh, wait, is my belief wrong? Is it wrong what I am thinking? What if they are right and I'm not? Right? So that is one way that self-doubt kicks in, right? Whether that's a good self-doubt or bad, I'm not getting into that debate, but how is it caused, right? So very strong belief, when it's questioned by somebody influential in your life, you are bound to get self-doubt. Another important reason that was highlighted was that when important people in your life, which I just also mentioned, right, they start reacting to your judgment and your mistake. Let's say you did something and it was a mistake, a choice that went wrong. Let's say you chose a school out of your own bound with a lot of fight in the house that, no, this is the school I want to study in, or this is the college I want to study in, and somehow it doesn't go well. Something happens. Some way it turns out not a great choice for you. And then the very same people who were doubting you earlier now come back and say, see, I told you, you didn't listen to us. Now see, it's a wrong choice. When you're vulnerable like that, when an important choice has backfired and there's a lot of, emotional suffering, and somebody comes in and points it out in a way that is not really encouraging, self-doubt kicks in. And that becomes a belief in itself. So much so that sometimes the belief is that, what if I can't make any good decisions in my life, right? And we start to kind of create a pattern that way, right? I'm taking a pause. I want you to really see where I'm going with this, right? So wrong choices, if not validated when you're already having that suffering, and somebody really points it out that, no, see, I told you, you cannot make good decisions, and that becomes a belief, like a very self-doubting voice. What else? Negative experiences in childhood. Understand childhood as a phase where, as we popularly call it, phase where we're all getting shaped. And that is the phase where, if the child is going through experiences that they can't fully understand, for example, let's say there was a lot of screaming and yelling, lot of bullying, lot of insulting, lot of criticism, that you can't get anything right, you don't do this right, you don't do that right, why do you make so much mistake, you're not really one of the smartest people in the room, etc., 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 etc. And that is when you're getting shaped. So imagine those inputs, those words starting to become a part of your shape, part of your formation. And it's that it goes that deep, yes, in childhood, because there's no way to filter it. You haven't learned the art of filtering what is coming to you. You haven't learned the art of not attaching with what is coming to you, because these are important voices, right? These are almost your entire world, because you haven't seen anything outside of that. And that is when this starts to become a very, very strong belief. If you're understanding what I'm sharing so far, what I've shared so far, type with you in the chat. If you really understand where I'm going with this, if you really understand why self-doubt is caused in us, right? Type with you in the chat so that I know that you're getting it, right? I'm looking at the chat. I'm not going ahead until I have your response. Type with you in the chat. Yes, fantastic, fantastic. All right, the next point about self-doubt as to how it is caused is through certain mental health conditions as well, right? So if somebody has an anxiety disorder or somebody has an attachment disorder, right? Somebody has lot of adverse experiences even later in life. So right now you're talking about childhood, but if even later in life there are adverse experiences, self-doubt is bound to occur, right? Remember, when these experiences happen and there's a lot of emotional suffering, lot of vulnerability, when it has really affected you, and that's the time, if you don't get the right kind of support, both internally and externally from around you, self-doubt starts to take shape. Okay, so that was how it is even caused, right? So far we've covered what is self-doubt and how has it come in our life, how has it become a part of us, right? And the things that I mentioned, I promise you, it is very, very common. It's like everyone, right? There's no one in the world who can really outrightly say that I've never had a negative experience that affected me, or I've never had someone very important criticize me or probably humiliate me. And sometimes people are well-meaning, but then, and yes, of course, what Shivani is saying, right? So phobias, overthinking, all of that. So it's all interconnected, right? And that is why it is important to understand that it's a very, very common phenomenon. It's everybody, everyone around you who you may feel intimidated by, who's superior to you, junior to you, peer level to you, your classmate, your colleague, your boss, your teacher, everyone, including me, including, everyone in the room, for example, we've all experienced, right? So I want you to really see that you're not the odd one out if you're doubting yourself a lot. Yes, the degree of it may vary, that, how much somebody is feeling it, how much somebody is affected by it. That may vary from person to person, but we've all experienced it, right? So remember that. And then we get into the tips. Now, knowing it is one thing, understanding the cause behind it is another thing. But then what do I do, right? I've understood, ma'am, I've understood, Aparna, that, this is how it is caused. This is the reason. But then what do I do with it? What do I do to manage it? Because it is blocking me, it is slowing me down. There's so many great things for me to accomplish, so many things that I want to focus on, but my self-doubt keeps getting in the way, right? So I have gathered for you, I've brought together for you 11 powerful tips, powerful hacks. I call them hacks. These are simple to implement. These are all practices, basically. You'll have to pick it up and you'll have to bring it into your life, right? So the more you practice this, the more it becomes your new normal, right? For anything new to happen, practice is the only way. Yes. So I'm going to open them up one by one. We'll discuss it. We'll understand it. And then we'll go to the next point. Today's session, I'll be ending with some immediate action steps as well. I want to give you few steps that you can apply right away, like from today, and you'll start to see that change, right? Not everything has to be postponed for future or has to be done in the perfect way possible. We'll pick it up, we'll apply, and we'll start to see the change. Okay. So the first thing, and that is probably the tone of our entire conversation today itself, starting from Lakshmi's, introduction to the beginning that we were discussing, is that one way, the first way to overcome self-doubt is to accept that it is a part of being human. One thing that all of us need to remember is that when you are trying to change something in yourself, you can't hate that side of you and expect it to change. You can't avoid that side of you and expect it to change. You can't really, look away and really consider that, oh, this is something that I should absolutely ignore. This is not the good side of me, or this is not a part of me. First step is to accept that it is there. Yes, it is there because as long as we are humans, we're going to have self-doubt. And the moment you start seeing it like that, it starts to reduce its size as a problem versus this is something that I can never overcome, or this is something very extraordinarily difficult. Versus it's okay. It's a part of me being human. It's normal. The person I'm facing also has experienced it, right? And it's absolutely okay. So that's the first step, that you're being accepting of it. You're not avoiding it. You're not running away from it. Okay. The second part, the second tip that I want you all to have is that you need to remember that doubts are not fact. When you're doubting yourself, you're basically saying that I can't do this. Okay. For example, or you're saying that I'm not good enough for this. I'm not ready for this. Right. And when you look at it like that, from a third person's perspective, I want you to look at it also as a notion that it is not a fact. Who's judging whether you're good enough for something or not? Where is that, report card? Where is that prescription? Where is that fact that somebody has, signed and sealed that that's it, you're not good enough for it, right? These are basically beliefs that have been a part of us for a long time, and it starts showing up in almost every new thing that we're trying to accomplish, right? So the important thing is to first call it out and say that, this is not a fact. It is a thought. It is an opinion. It is something that I believe, but it may or may not be true. So the moment you start looking at it as a doubt and not a fact, you can actually allow it to still be there, but you can move forward. You can still take action. You can still start, applying things before you can allow it to really get in your way. Yes. So step number one is acceptance. Step number two is to acknowledge that doubts are not facts. Your self-doubt is not a list of truthful ideas. These are not really truths. They are not based on any fact. Okay. Third trick. I am calling it a trick intentionally because it is actually a modality where you learn how to detach yourself from your self-doubt. So while it is still there, while it is still affecting you, while it is still going like that little voice telling you that you can't do this, you're not ready for this is too big, this is impossible, etc., etc. How do you detach yourself? Because the moment it is blocking you, the moment it is in your way, it is also because you have started to recognize that voice as your own. That this is what I think. This is what I think that I'm not good for it. This is what I think that I'm not ready for it. This is what I think that I can never accomplish this. Right? I want you to detach yourself from that thought. Right? And how does that happen? The most beautiful way of doing it is that, I'm sorry if there are any Amits in the room, but I've just taken Amit as an example, that if you can give this inner voice of doubt a name, the moment you give something a name, which is different than yours, your mind understands it as, okay, this is not you. Okay. So I cannot call my self-doubt Aparna because I am Aparna. So if I'm calling that voice Aparna, then I'm identifying it as my own voice, right? So I will give it a different name. I'll call it a Martha or a Lily or anything, like any different name. And then I'll acknowledge. So every time let's say you're getting into a situation where self-doubt is kicking in, become present with yourself. Like pause for a minute, pause for a second. Focus on your breath. Really hear what that self-doubt is trying to tell you. Okay. And then talk back to it, right? You say that, thank you. I understand you're afraid, but I am going to do this anyway because I want this, right? So what did you do? You acknowledge the earlier step. You acknowledge, you accepted that, yes, that voice exists, but you're also very politely saying that this is not your voice. You're also grateful that that voice is there. It's some way trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you in a comfort zone. It's not really, it's not a sound of a villain. It's basically a very afraid sound. So you have to be kind to that afraid sound, right? Afraid voice. So you thank it and you acknowledge its presence, but then you also tell your opinion and your belief that I'm going ahead anyways because I want to do this, right? And then that voice, by naming it, you're actually detaching yourself, right? Type clear in the chat if all this is clear. So far, we've completed 3 tips. Just type clear in the chat if you can hear me, right? Awesome. Let's go further. The next tip for you to kind of help yourself overcome your self-doubt, manage your self-doubt, stop it from becoming a roadblock for you is by connecting with your mission. Your mission, your why, your purpose. The reason why you're doing anything, the reason why you get out of bed every day, your purpose right now could be just to complete your education. Your purpose could be that you want to be a happy person. Your purpose could be that you want to be the best working professional, you want to be the best teacher, you want to be the most valuable resource for whichever scenario that you're a part of. That could be a purpose. Your purpose could be to meet your highest potential, to become your best version, right? Any of this, whatever connects with you, you pick it up. And that's your why. That's your mission. And you need to remember that your mission is stronger than your fear. And you won't remember it just like that, right? So one way that I connect with my mission regularly is by writing, right? Some of you may recall when we were children, And let's say if we've forgotten our homework, we were made to do impositions. We were made to write probably 50 times or 100 times that I will not forget my homework. I will not forget, yes, I will not forget my homework, and we'll have to write it 50 times. And though it was a punishment, but the intention was actually right. The more I write it, the more I'm wired to start to act like that. And that is why that practice, right? But I understand it was given in a way of to make you kind of feel bad and, nobody else is doing it. I have got an imposition, and there was a negative experience altogether. But the intention is that the more you write it, the more you connect with it, the more it becomes your normal. And one way to connect with your why, so that the fear starts to look small and your why starts to look big, your purpose starts to look big, you become more and more clear that why am I even putting all this effort? Why do I get out of bed and go after something? What is it that I'm after? So the more clear you are of your goals, the more clear your goal could be make a lot of money. Your goal could be, really have a very luxurious lifestyle. Your goal could be that you want to change how education is given in the world. Goal could be anything. It could be personal, it could be professional, it could be internal, external, doesn't matter. But the more you write your goals, so every day I recommend writing one page at least of your goals so that you can really, really connect with your purpose. And the more you're connected with your purpose, the voice of fear is going to become smaller and smaller. Yes. What next? So self-doubt, like when we were discussing the causes, one of the cause, if you remember, is the voice of an influential person. And that creates that belief that, oh, you can't do anything right, or you're not good enough, or any other language that your self-doubt has. What if we can take it and flip it? What if we become intentional about our circle of people who have influence on us? What if we become particular as to who becomes my inner circle, right? As children, we didn't have that option. When we were little, we really didn't have a choice. Fortunately, unfortunately, we had all kinds of people in our life. As grown-ups, everybody, I hope all of us, and I'm not saying only above 18 is a grown-up. Now we mature very early. We're more aware and well exposed. So the more you take control of who has access to you, who has an effect on you, who has an influence on you, and you become choosy about that. You make a choice that, okay, this person is really not somebody who motivates me. This person is really not somebody who makes me feel good about myself. They don't get access to me. Now, some of them may be your colleagues and classmates and even friends. And I am saying that you don't really have to immediately cut off. You don't have to put down your papers and leave your company. You don't really have to leave that college or ask them to change your classroom. You reduce access, you reduce interaction, you reduce exposure. So slowly that fades out, that connection. And you, at the same time, you become intentional about who becomes a part of your circle, who really is your, and when I say inner circle, I say it with a lot of good intent that it need not be 100 people, it need not be 50 people. It can be, your inner circle can be 5 people. It can be 2 people. In fact, it can be one other person. So don't go by the number of how many people should this inner circle have. It could be one cheerleader, one really well-meaning friend, family, relative, whosoever, a mentor, who really believes in you and who knows that you are capable of creating magic. And the more you have access to that person and vice versa, the more positive interactions you have, the more your self-doubting voice is going to fizzle out. Because what is it based on anymore, right? Because your inner circle of cheerleaders will take you and keep rebuilding you, because self-doubt will come, new challenges will come, you will get out of your comfort zone and you will doubt yourself. But this inner circle will pick you right back up. They'll keep building you again and again. And that's how your self-doubt will slowly, like I said, on earlier points as well, that it will slowly start to become smaller and smaller. So much so that you don't think that it is affecting you anymore. It may still be there, but it doesn't have to stop you. Yes? What else do you do? Right? So we have covered 5 points. Now, what's the 6th one? What else do you do to overcome self-doubt? You fuel your courage. Self-doubt or lack of confidence, what's the opposite of it? What's the antonym of it? Your belief in yourself, your confidence in yourself, your bravery, your courage. So for, self-doubt to become less, your courage has to grow. You have to become more brave. You have to become more and more confident. Yes. And you have to fuel that every day. So let's stop assuming that we will automatically have courage. I do coaching, I do a lot of career coaching and life coaching, and my clients tell me that, Aparna, I don't feel brave, I don't feel courageous, I am very afraid. And when they say this, there is an automatic assumption that we feel that there is an unlimited supply of courage that should automatically be there. Now, that's not possible for a lot of us. So, if you've had a lot of traumatic experiences, negative experiences, not many people believed in us, let's say, we're bound to have that self doubt. We are bound to have that fear. And we are bound to have our courage metric showing very less numbers, like courage being very less and fear being a lot, because the shaping up has been different. So what do? You have to take the ownership of building your courage. It is not automatically there, okay? And for that to happen, again, there is a beautiful way to make that happen, right? So think of courage like a muscle, like how you build your muscle with exercise and right nutrition. Courage is also a muscle that you can build in you. And how do you do that? One way of doing that is asking yourself this question every time you're feeling afraid. Just a simple question, that what would I do right now if I were being brave? That's it. And you'll find your answer. That if what if I was not afraid? What would be my choice if I'm actually feeling very courageous right now, very brave right now? And you'll get an answer. And what if you could act like that? You're not feeling it, but you can act like it. That, yes, I'm going to act courageous. I'm choosing to act courageous, right? And the more you give yourself that experience, the more you act out of courage, the more courage starts to become your normal. You start to see, hey, that was not difficult. I actually did it. And then you open yourself up to it more and more and more. And one other way of building your courage is actually exercising, right? So if you're already not doing daily exercise and you're not doing really intense physical activities where you sweat it out and, things that bring you out of your comfort zone, then I highly recommend that you start exercising from today, right? And there's so many ways of doing it. But physical movement, doing things that are making you sweat, take your heart rate up, and making you, feel more energetic, it is bound to also make you feel very courageous, because a very strong mind lies in a very strong body. In other words, healthy mind lies in a healthy body. So healthier your mind, the stronger your mind, the lesser the voice of self-doubt. Yes, I have 5 more tips for you. Let's get into the 7th one. This is a very simple one, but some of us struggle with it. A lot of time my clients tell me, I don't even know what my strengths are, right? So I know you've read it. So remember your strengths and remember your past achievements. One great way of doing it, is again to document it. All of us should have a file, a Word document, a notebook, somewhere where we can easily refer to it, our list of strengths, our list of accomplishments. And this is not your resume. Resume is very different. It's more a customized document. The one that I'm talking about is your master document. Like, it could be 10 pages long, and that's okay, because this is just your personal reference point, right? And the more you realize, okay, this was my strength today, or this is something I was appreciated for, or this is something that people are coming to me for more and more, automatically those are yours, right? Your achievement, something that you got recognition for, something that you're able to easily do now, something that people again, acknowledged, and you're actually getting stuff because of it. Let's say you got a promotion because of it, you got an award because of it. Now that becomes your achievement, right? So come back and document it. Because if we are loaded with a lot of self-doubt, what it also does is it makes us forget. It makes us forget our strengths. It makes us forget our past achievements. It makes us forget our abilities itself. More and more we start to believe that, more and more our self-esteem, self-worth, all of this starts to go down. And we have totally forgotten that what we are capable of, what great things we've already accomplished, what strengths we've already built. And most of all, it makes us forget our ability to learn, that there are still so many possibilities for us. There's still so much more life left in us. And when life is there, time is there, there's still so many things, so many opportunities for us to yet to grab. Self-doubt gets in the way of that also. So one great way of doing that is to become intentional. You will not automatically remember. There's no tape recorder that you just switch on. It will become a tape recorder with practice. That automatically there'll be another voice that said that, no, it's just, doubt. It's not a fact. I'm already great at this. I've already done this so many times. Let's just go ahead and do it. That voice will become stronger and stronger when you become intentional about remembering that, okay, yes, these are my strengths. Yes, these are my, you know, qualities and skills, etc. Right? Wonderful. I hope all of you are making notes. These are important points and you need to start practicing it. Another way of really helping yourself overcome self-doubt is your self-compassion, right? Your positive self-talk. Now, self-compassion is basically compassion, also known as love, you know, positive emotions for yourself, right? So when you're kind towards yourself, when the way you talk to yourself is very, very empowering, is positive, is like as if you're building yourself up and you're very particular about it, right? You're overcoming your self-doubt. Okay. What does that look like? That instead of constantly criticizing myself, right? Let's say if I'm eating food, okay, and I dropped some food on the table by mistake just now. If I was not focused, you know, I dropped some food and I was like, oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, see, I always just create a mess. If I'm in front of public people, even more, I'm so messy, right? Versus, oops, it's okay. You know, I will handle it. Right. So I'm saying that the way you talk to yourself, the way you look at yourself, that changes everything. Because the person you're with most of the time, or let's say the person you're with all the time, not most of the time, all the time, is you. And if the voice that is going on inside is always negative, always critical, always judgmental, would your self doubt go down or will it go up? Obviously, it will go up, yes? So, your love towards yourself, your compassion towards yourself, your kindness towards yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk about yourself, be very careful of it, right? And why am I saying it? This is so important is because all the great things that you're thinking other people are accomplishing, all the great things that you see on television, the glamour, the celebrityhood, the money, the this and that, things that probably inspire you as well. That, okay, what if I had this? What if I had that? Right? Is all going further and further away from you if you're allowing your self doubt to just be there, right? And not doing anything about it, right? Versus you start applying these tips and you start to see a change. And then those goals become closer and closer because now you're going to take more action in that direction. Yes, super. Let's go further. Okay. You need to also understand that you need to be present. You need to practice mindfulness, right? You need to really understand that when you are lost, and the opposite of mindfulness is you're not really in the moment, you're lost. You're either tossing your mind towards the future or towards the past, and you're wondering, you know, how else can I deal with it? And you're overwhelmed with it. You need to come back to the present moment, right? I want everybody to focus on that. And just give me 1 second. I need to come back. Just give me 1 second. All right. Thank you so much. Can someone confirm if I'm audible again?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
ma'am,
yeah.
audible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. So what I was talking about was that, yes, further you need to become mindful because self-doubt again is very future focused and very past focused. That, see, remember in the past, I made a mistake and, you know, I'm going to do it again. Let's say you went for an interview and you didn't get through. And now another interview is coming up. What does your self-doubt tell you? No, it's not going to happen for me. Remember last time it was very bad. I forgot some questions and I didn't have the right answers, etc. Be mindful, be present, be here today. And if you're with your notepad, I want all of you to write down a mantra for yourself. My past is not the map of my future. That's one big way to, you know, push back your self-doubt. My past, you don't need to keep looking into your past for answers. You don't need to keep referring your past as a map that, okay, this is what is going to give me direction for my future, right? So my past is not the map of my future. That is one other way that you improve your confidence and you reduce your self-doubt. What else? Very obvious one, right? And one that all of us are kind of victimized by. All of us, you know, also suffer with something like a comparison, right? And I want to slowly bring your attention to the fact that we are conditioned that way, right? If you look at the way our education system is, especially growing up, and even in college, even, you know, much later, even in very, very senior academic phases of our life, that's how you understand that somebody is doing well, right? So we have a ranking system. Somebody's got a first rank, somebody's got no rank, whatever. Somebody scored really well and somebody's really didn't, score well. Now, I'm not saying that what is the alternative. Today's session is not about that, but it does really make us compare. isn't it? That we all remember comparing our marks with each other and knowing that, oh, you did so well and I did so bad, vice versa. Report cards and all of that. So very numeric way, very data-based way of understanding whether I'm doing good or bad, right? And it's debatable whether that's the only way to map somebody's capabilities, but it does teach us very early on that we need to compare. And if I'm in comparison, I'm good, then I'm good. Otherwise, I'm not, right? So for me to succeed, 5 people have to fail. For me to look bigger, few people have to look smaller. That starts, very early on as a success measurement metric, right? Unfortunately, some of us also had experiences where we were actually compared outside of all that. We were compared that, hey, look at the neighbor's kid, look at that uncle's daughter, look at that friend, etc., etc., how they are doing, how you're doing, how they eat, how you eat, how they study, how you study, etc., etc. I can go on and on, right? And that brings it. And that is why when I highlighted that way, I also am mindful of the fact that avoiding comparison is not one of the easiest things to do, but becoming mindful that I'm comparing and it is affecting me and it is going to increase my self-doubt. So I need to reduce it a little, will help you, right? Another way of looking at it is when you're comparing yourself with someone, and if, let's say, jealousy kicks in, that I'm jealous of this person, how come they have all this and I don't have, right? You can look at it from a fact that your jealousy is trying to teach you, or that sense of comparison is trying to teach you, that what if you want some of that in your life, right? And then what can you do about it to accomplish it, right? Somebody's become a very successful author and you wanted to write a book. Somebody's become a movie star and you like to do acting and you wanted to become a star yourself. Somebody's a politician and you're very interested in politics, etc., etc. So if that is something that you're comparing and feeling bad, what if we could flip it? That if I'm comparing, maybe I really want it. And if I want it, what can I do about it? How can I get that into my life? Right? And that is one other way of really seeing progress happen in the right direction, and that will reduce comparison, that will reduce self-doubt. And finally, I've saved the best for the last. So all of this combined, and this 1/11th point, right? Self-doubt, while I said that they are not facts, sometimes they are hints as well. Sometimes they are hints that we need to prepare more, okay? We need to build our skills more. We need to personally develop ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually more. The more I have developed myself, the more skilled I have become, the more experienced I have become. I have facts now, right? Facts in the right direction. And that will also help in fizzling my self-doubt out, because then you'll combine it with remembering that, yes, I am building my skills. Yes, I am building my achievements, etc. Right? So when you focus on building yourself personally and professionally, your self-doubt will have no basis. It will have no fact, no proof, no baseline on which it will start to thrive. And on the opposite, you actually will start to see your confident self grow more and more, because you have a very healthy routine. So you're so proud of it. You've started to build the right skills. Your mind is engaged in learning and building in acquiring knowledge and skills. So you're feeling very confident of that. And then with all that happening together, you'll see great results. You'll suddenly see that people are noticing how healthy you've become and how fit you've become. And there'll be a lot of positive talk about you. With your skills, you'll get more recognition, you'll get more opportunities, you'll slowly start to build all these accomplishments. So you have proof on the opposite. So with your self-doubt, the conversation will be very different, that, hey, what are you talking about? Look at my skills, look at my strengths and all of that. I'm going in this direction. I'm actually focused to build myself more and more. And your self-doubt will have no standing. It will have no face to stop you and to slow you down, right? Was this entirely helpful? And the chat, type helpful, right? If this is something that you're going to carry with you. Even if 1 or 2 points you can actually start applying, you can actually start, using in your own life, you'll start to see the change. Okay. Before I end the session, or, if you have few questions, I am all excited for that as well. I want to quickly give you a few action steps, 4 things that you can immediately start doing if you're already not doing, that will really, really change your life as far as your self-doubt is concerned. So there's something that I like to call mirror exercise. right? So we spoke a bit about connection with yourself, about your focus, about your, focus on self-doubt, for example. We flip that by coming in front of the mirror. So all of us come in front of the mirror, isn't it? To get ready, to check on ourselves, whether we are dressed properly, whether the makeup is right, whether our, hair is right. What if we could come in front of the mirror to check on ourselves, but more so in terms of what do we need? Like how remember checking on your friend. Are they feeling sad? Are they feeling happy? Can I help them in any way? Right? Can I care for them in any way? So when you come in front of the mirror, really look at yourself, look into your eyes and see how you're feeling. Ask how you're feeling, right? And ask that whether you can help this person in the mirror, which is yourself, in some way, and support that and provide that. Tell some positive thing to yourself in the mirror that you're looking great today. You're fantastic. You're so capable. You're brilliant. I am really, really inspired by you and your journey. Say some things that will, and use your own language, not the things that I'm just saying, for your own self, the words that will really make you smile, make you feel great. Do that every day and start to see that change. Yes. Next, I also recommend, if you already don't do it, I'm sure a lot of us in the room already are very active physically, and we also meditate. If you don't, then I highly recommend that you do. Otherwise, self-doubt, if left unchecked, it can become a disease. It can really, really harm us in ways that we don't even want to get started talking about. It's very, very negative as an experience. And it's negative also because it keeps us playing small. It keeps us away from everything that we are so capable of making real into our own life, right? And one great way of doing that is more physical activity, more, meditation, more being present with yourself. Keeps you healthy, and your self-doubt is going to kind of give you some break from it. Yes. Earlier when we were talking about the documentation bit, 100%, right? So document your skills, make a list, as simple as a list. There's nothing fancy, nothing complicated. One document, one paper. Digitally is better because you can easily store it and edit it from wherever. You document your skills, your accomplishments, and testimonials, right? So if you have a good email from your boss, if somebody has said a kind word to you today, somebody gave you a compliment, come back and add it to your document with the person's name and all that, so that you really, over a period of time, you would have developed this entire beautiful master file of all of this. Like it can become your magic pill of strength. It can become your magic pill of confidence. Every time you're feeling low, just come back to this document and you have nothing to be doubtful of yourself about, right? And finally, we were also talking about goals earlier. So really bring it into practice. That it's not just enough that we have dreams or we have goals that we want to accomplish. Connect with it every day so that your action can be aligned with that, so that you'll make better choices, because that's how you accomplish anything. So take a paper every day, have a diary, and every day write one page of your goals. It's okay if every day some of your goals are changing. That's okay. Over a period of time, they will become more and more clear. Write every day, your goals, and you'll connect with it better. And you will start to feel your purpose, that, okay, this is why I'm doing all of this. So my doubt cannot get in the way, right? And with all these simple, simple steps, you will see that your self-doubt is going away. All right. And that's it from my side. Now I'm going to be here. I'm around, over to Lakshmi, over to anybody else who has any question for me. All ready for that.
Yeah.
I can also stop sharing.
Thank you, Aparna ma'am. It was a very nice session. So, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely thank Aparna Gautam, our outstanding speaker today. So, we had the chance to hear a fascinating and thought-provoking conversation about the overcoming self-doubt today. So, through her remarkable ability to convey information, Aparna Gautam left us with insightful discoveries and motivational concepts. Her engaging lectures inspired us and motivated us to study more. We appreciate the effort. Sorry. Yeah, we appreciate the effort and time they put into organizing this educational program. So, key takeaway from the session is like how we are supposed to overcome our self doubt is only to accept it and also being mindful. And can I request the participants to ask any questions if they have any?
Yeah,
So,
madam. I'm GD Garg. Madam has given a mantra. My past is not map of future, but I think that if I remember my past, if I have done a good job in the past and got the achievement, so that will be a guide for my future. if I have not done anything and there is no achievement in the past, then how can I achieve in the future? This mantra, I think, something different. Please ask her to explain it.
All right. Okay. And very beautiful point. Thank you so much, Mr. Ghanshyam. So, and for everybody else in the room who also had this doubt. So, when I say my past is not the map of my future, right? So, map is a very particular word. Now, think of yourself being lost in a jungle and you have a map, right? And you're going to follow that map to the T to be able to come out of that jungle all safe, right? If you look at your past like a map, so let's say what specifically to what Mr. Ghanshyam was saying, that I've done something great in the past, so why am I not allowed to refer it? Refer it, but not like a map. That is the only way that I will achieve it. That's it. So what ends up happening if we look at it like a map, even when there are accomplishments, I'll end up remaining limited to that accomplishment only, right? When you look at it as a reference point, yes, I have proof. And I've throughout the session, I've spoken about proof of accomplishment, document your strengths, document your success 100%, but don't keep that as a map that's the only way to success. That's all I'm capable of doing, right? So then you will start to see your life as this amazing universe of possibilities and opportunities while you're bringing your past accomplishments itself as a source of strength. But when I use the word map, I'm being very intentional. Map means that's the only way. You will not, when you're lost in a jungle, you'll not question the map. You'll constantly just follow left. Okay, we have to go left, we have to go right. You won't look beyond that. What I'm urging all of us in the room to do is we look beyond that. That yes, that accomplishment was great. I'm confident I can do better. That's where I was coming from. I hope that answers it.